Hey, this is Ash from Revolution Me. Now, if you've ever spent time with kids, you probably know that kids don't always pay attention to what we say, but they definitely pay attention to what we do. And if you wonder why, then that's what this video is all about. So we come into this world with an innate ability to read body language. Things like our facial expression, our tone of voice, our posture, and the gestures that we use. It's an evolutionary adaptation because it's a way for babies to get an idea of what their caregivers, their parents or other adults, might be thinking and feeling. Whereas with our verbal communication, that doesn't come quite as naturally. It's not something we're inbuilt. It's not something we're born with. And that's why you can put a child in a Spanish-speaking home or an English-speaking home or a German-speaking home, and the child will pick up the language of the environment, whatever that is. So non-verbal communication comes naturally. And that's why, not just for kids, but for adults as well, that's why our non-verbal communication will always trump the words we use. So think about an example like this, right? Let's say your cousin is coming into town, you've just found out, and someone says that to you, and your response is, "Oh, great." Or it could be, "Oh, great." Now, it's the same words that you've used, but a totally different message has been conveyed depending on your nonverbal communication. Now, this difference is especially apparent for kids, and the reason is because verbal communication is just harder for them. Kids can't process language like we can. They get overwhelmed with too many words. You could say to a kid, "Please hand me the crayon." Or you could say, "Could you do me a favor and hand me the crayon?" You've doubled the number of words that you're saying, and it's basically the same request. But with the second one, for young kids, by the time you've finished the request, they've already forgotten the first half of what you're saying. And that's just the way that kids' brains are. It's because they're not as developed as adults. That's just the way that it is. So kids get overwhelmed much more easily, and they also take a little bit longer to process verbal information. And one final point, which is that when you're giving lots and lots of instructions to a child, they have to somehow turn those instructions in and construct a mental image of what that would look like in the real world. So let's say you're trying to teach a child how to cut paper using scissors. Now, you could go through this whole lengthy dialogue of where you put your thumb and your fingers and how you hold the scissors and how you angle it to the paper, and the child is there and they're trying to process all of these words and think them through and make sense of them and construct this image of what that would look like in the real world. Or you could just pick up a pair of scissors, get a bit of paper, and just do it and show them how to do it. It's much simpler. And this is why whenever we're giving kids, especially when it comes to behavior, whenever we're trying to teach kids how to do something as abstract as manage their behavior or manage their emotions, most of it just goes right over their head, goes in one ear and out the other. They've got no idea what it is that we're trying to explain. Therefore, by default, when they don't understand what we're saying, they will look to what we're doing because they figure, hey, if we're explaining what it is that we're doing, then we're probably going to be demonstrating it as well. The problem is that a lot of the time, what we say and what we do are total opposites. Have you ever said to a kid, "Stop yelling," and you've used a raised tone of voice, or you've told a child not to lie, and then you turn around and you're on the phone to your friend going, "Oh yeah, I don't really feel well enough to come out," and it's all BS. So kids pay more attention to what we do than what we say. It's their biology, it's their nature. It's pointless for us to try and change that because that's how they're built, that's how they are. So what we can do as adults is just make sure that we do all the stuff that we say. So if we're trying to get kids to behave themselves, if we're trying to get kids to regulate their emotions and regulate their behavior, the best way we can do it is just to shut up and demonstrate it ourselves. Sorry to be so blunt, but that's kind of the bottom line. We just need to be in line, be congruent with what we say. Make sure that we walk our talk. All right. I'd love to hear your comments. If you have any struggles with any of this, I would love to get some feedback from you. So pop a comment below and I will catch you next time.